Hey guys, my name is JJ Weeks. I've enjoyed being with you already thus far. What a great night we've had already. I have an absolute privilege to be sitting here, get to ask a few questions to the one and only Miss Alveda King. I am honored to do this tonight. Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time tonight.
JJ, it's wonderful meeting you and knowing you, your music, and you've been inspiring, uplifting, and singing and worshiping for 20 years, and I just commend you for that.
Yeah. And same to you. We
Yeah.
were talking a little bit before cameras came on, and you said you've been writing music for 50 plus years.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing. She said, I've been doing it for 50 years because, I said, no way. There's no way you were that age. Because she looks beautiful tonight. I love your dress. Love all that. It looks great. Hey, is it okay if we do a couple of maybe hard questions tonight?
I think we have to do that.
I agree.
I'm okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's clear. We all know, overwhelmingly clear, that you are pro-life.
Yeah.
And have been for a long time.
Yes, I have.
And so I guess maybe would be good for our audience to know, why do you have those beliefs? Like, what gives you that stance?
Interestingly enough, I was born in 1951, and my grandfather, Martin Luther King Sr., said he saw me in a dream 3 years before I was born.
Oh, wow.
And my mother actually wanted an abortion in 1950.
Oh, wow.
And it was illegal, but you could go to the doctor for an exploratory procedure to see why you didn't feel well.
Right.
And so my granddaddy said, you can't abort her. She's a little girl with bright skin and bright red hair, and she's going to bless many people.
Wow.
So that was the prophecy. So people hear me say, I have a dream, it's in my genes, I'm pro-life. They think I got that from Martin Luther King Jr. I got it from my granddaddy.
Oh, that's cool.
But I didn't live that way for many, many years. And then I became born again in 1983 and became pro-life. By then I had had 2 abortions.
Wow.
And a miscarriage because my body had been hurt from the abortions, and I was pro-choice.
Yeah.
And because that's the way the times were. My aunt Coretta King, Martin Luther King's wife, was pro-choice. Martin Luther King Jr. was not pro-choice. My granddaddy, Daddy King, was not pro-choice.
Right.
My daddy, A.D. King, was not pro-choice. But I was, and then I became born again in 1983.
Wow.
And Jesus touched my heart about the babies in the womb, and I asked the question. JJ, I said, a woman has a right to choose what she does with her body, and she really does.
Yeah.
But the baby's not her body.
That's
and
true.
I had to ask this question. Where's the lawyer for the baby? How can the dream survive if we murder our children?
It's good. It's good.
Jesus put that question in my heart, and I became pro-life.
It's good. That's awesome. What would you say, and this is hard for me to understand at times, if I'm honest. I've been a Christian since I was 6, right? Because mom and dad raised me in church. Whether I walked the aisle at 6 years old and knew exactly what I was doing, I don't know.
Yeah.
But at 15, I knew what I was doing, and I dedicated my life to Christ again. And, at that point, like you said in your statement just a minute ago, things change when you turn your life over to Christ. If they don't, you probably hadn't turned your life over to Christ.
That's true.
And so, what would you say to the Christian that isn't pro-life? Like, what would you say as a, not an argument, but as a stance?
I believe I may be talking to somebody right now. And if you just wonder in your heart if it's right to kill a baby, to stand for the rights of the mother, or does the dad have something to say about it, or anything like that, just think about it. The baby in the womb is a human being.
That's right.
The baby in the womb has no lawyer. So will you champion the innocent, the defenseless, help the mother and the dad if he needs help as well, to find a solution where they can overcome their circumstances without hurting an innocent person?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. I think a lot of us base our decisions in that moment, in what we're facing in that moment, as a whole. So that's huge. First of all, huge, lots of respect for your family.
Thank you.
And all that has come on before you. Maybe some would ask, and you mentioned this earlier, but let's maybe just bring it on out. Would your uncle have supported a pro-choice candidate? someone who maybe they say they believe this, but their belief systems are this. Would your uncle have backed somebody like that?
I must answer your question in this manner. I knew my uncle very well. Martin Luther King Jr., my uncle, my daddy's brother, Reverend A.D. King, and my granddaddy, Martin Luther King Sr., were Baptist preachers.
Oh, wow.
And granddaddy rescued so many families when they didn't want to have a baby, and he found ways to serve his congregation without having them harm anybody.
That's good.
So Daddy King, A.D. King, my dad, and Martin Luther King Jr. would have been what we call pro-life today.
That's right.
I promise you they would have been anti-abortion. Martin Luther King Jr. said the Negro cannot win if he's willing to sacrifice the futures of his children for immediate personal comfort and safety. That's exactly what abortion does. And I had reasons and all of that. It was not a good thing to do. However, I did have abortions, and then I birthed 6 children.
Wow.
So they could not, because they were men of God who believed the Bible. They said we are one blood, Acts 17:26. We're not separate races. We are one human race with different ethnicities. And they would have had to recognize the rights of the child in the womb.
That's right. That's good. Well, thank you so much for your time and for maybe answering some difficult questions. And
they were difficult, but thank you for the opportunity.
It's been great. God bless you guys. Thanks for the few minutes.